Okay, we can start now. So I hope you all can hear me. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to Android Study Jams by DSC VIIT. I am Karthikeya Vishnoi and I'm the lead of DSC VIIT. DSC stands for Developer Student Clubs and it is a global organization. Think of it like Rotaract, but DSC is a purely technical club. DSC comes under Google Developers and as such all of our events are based on Google technologies and we use material and curriculum provided by Google itself. For example, back in October, we had an event called 30 Days of Google Cloud, and this was held on Clickwick Labs, which again is a Google platform. And now this event, Android Study Jams, will also be held on another Google platform, and that is google.dev. So before we get started, just a few guidelines for these events. So number one, please do not spam during the session in the chat. And I don't think I need to explain this any further. Number two is ask your doubts in the chat. So while we are teaching, you won't be able to unmute your mic and speak up. So you can please ask your doubts in the chat. Our main instructor Siddhesh might not be able to answer your doubts in the chat, but we have members from our Android team who are here specifically just to answer your questions. So don't worry, your doubts won't go unanswered. Number three is announcements about the sessions will be made on WhatsApp and the announcements channel on Discord. So I hope everyone has joined the WhatsApp group and the Discord server. If you have not, please do so. The links will be found in an email that was sent to you yesterday. And the announcements will be regarding the future sessions and about all of our challenges and other things that we'll be doing. Fourth is there will be a gap of 2 to 3 days between the sessions. So after we've covered every major topic, there's a gap for 2 to 3 days. And this is given so you can digest that information. And also this will be the time when you work on your code labs and solve some challenges. Fifth is you will have to RSVP for every session. So just as you have RSVP'd for this session, we'll send the links on the group and what and Discord, and you have to RSVP for every session. And we've kept it this way since it will be easier for us to track progress of every individual. Sixth is ask your doubts in the doubt solving channel. So if you head on over to our Discord server, you'll see there's a channel called doubt solving. And we've kept this when you get doubts during the 2 to 3 days के gaps. So if you run into any errors or if you're getting some issues that you can't solve, you can ask them over here. And here both members of the Android team and the fellow students can help you in solving these. Seventh is earn all badges to be eligible for a certificate. So this is a little tricky, but it is every single section is divided into code labs. So if you do a bunch of code labs, you'll earn a badge. And once you've earned all the badges, you'll be eligible for a certificate. And I know it sounds a little confusing for now, but once we actually get into it and once we start solving the code labs, this will make more sense. And the final point is top three of the leaderboards will get featured in our Instagram stories. So now we'll be maintaining a combined leaderboard that will combine your scores across all the platforms. So number one is Kahoot, which I hope all of you have downloaded. And the others, no spoilers yet, so I won't tell what the other platforms are. But we'll be maintaining a cumulative leaderboard of all the scores. And the top three people from the leaderboards will get featured in our Instagram stories. So that was all I had to say. So next up is Swaraj, who's the head of our Android development team.
Hello guys, I hope you can hear me. Okay, is my screen visible? Karthikeya?
Not yet.
Just a minute. Okay, is my screen visible now?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Hello guys, my name is Swaraj Tolare. I am domain head of Android team DSC VIT. So what we do at DSC VIT is we try to do we code and develop apps for Android, iOS, and various devices. But for now, we will focus on Android. So let's get started. So many of you must be confused about what we actually going to do in these sessions. And actually, when we all started, we were also confused. Our first app was this an app named Newslow, uh, which we already have on Play Store. You can download it there. And we were confused about this app. We had a little knowledge. Still, we made it to Play Store, and now the app is doing good. It has 40 to 50 downloads, and yeah, for the beginners, it was a good progress. So it goes by name Newslo, headlines at your fingertips. Then we started with our new initiative for social thing. So this was our a big project for us. So we tied up with some of the NGOs for this. So this is named as Animal Care Welfare. It is also available on Play Store, but under testing phase. So what we were doing here is helping animals get help. Like if an animal gets injured in some place, then anyone with the app can lodge an means rescue, and he can get the animal rescued. So this was a big challenge for us to means tie up with various organizations. And it's not like you see on White Hat Junior that a Chintu named guy makes an app and gets investors. You need to hard work and have patience to actually get started on Play Store. So remember this. Then our future scopes include some AR and VR projects with some Unity projects. So our ongoing project is about a VR AR app which we are focusing right now. So on this app focuses on what are our goals is to transform our whole college into an AR thing, and where you can modify things as per your need. You can design our college. So we are thinking of making this app till next year, and hopefully we would get successful in this app. Then we were also trying to do stuff in Unity where we can use particle systems to move things. So we are also learning Blender and things. So there are unlimited possibilities in this field. You can go everywhere. Like once you learn Android, you can go through various stuff. You can learn AR, VR, then go to Unity and learn game development and much more stuff. So this was all about Android team. So lastly, I would like to conclude with, we start at a bridge where we connect your imagination to real world. And if you love our solutions, just charm us with cup of code. So I'm waiting for your cup of code. So I will hand it over to Siddhesh. He will continue with the session. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Swaraj. Uh, so let me share my screen first. Can you see the screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Siddhesh, it's
Okay, okay. So hello everyone, my name is Siddhesh and I'm the facilitator for Android Study Jam. Hope you all are doing well. And I, along with my Android team, will be guiding you throughout this session, and we will be covering all the topics that you need to solve the code labs. So let's begin. These are the prerequisites. Uh, so first of all, you need a little bit of programming experience in an object-oriented programming language like Java, C++, or any other language. Then you need a computer to run Android Studio, and an internet connection, and a device, an Android device or an Android emulator. Android emulator actually comes with Android Studio. So even if you have a Mac, that would work. So what are the learning objectives of Android Study Jams? So first of all, it's the one of the most important thing here is that we will be coding everything in Kotlin. So as you know that there are two native languages to code to build Android apps. One is Java and other is Kotlin. So in this event, we will be focusing on Kotlin. Then we will build variety of Android apps covering various topics in Android. Then we will show you the best practices to build Android applications along with the recommended architecture by Google. Along with that, we will also discover some resources where you can get help, and it will help you whenever you're stuck while coding. So let's start the session one. So here are the topics which we'll be covering in this session: the overview, Kotlin, and some basics of Kotlin. So this is the actual link of the Android study jams. So what I will do is I will just paste it in the chat box so you can also go there and see what's there. I pasted the link in the chat box. So I'll go there. This is the landing page of Android Study Jam. So there are two tags. One is new to programming track and another is prior programming experience track. So as you can see, as soon as I went here, there is a pop-up that you earned an Android Study Jam's participant badge. Sign in to claim your badge. So I'll just sign in. So choose my account. Yeah. So this is our prior programming experience track. This is what we will be covering in this session. So as you can see, there is another pop-up. So view your profile. So this is a developer profile where all the badges you earn, all of them will be stored here. I don't know why this is not working, but yeah, just wait for a second. It will load. Yeah, so this is the Android developer, this is the Google developer profile. And as you can see, I have these badges and below these are the mini badges which I have earned. So this is where all the badges will be stored. Along with that, you will see there is an option to start Kotlin cones. So what Kotlin cones is, it just introduces all the concepts of Kotlin to you. So it is just an optional thing to do. It's not a compulsion that you must complete Kotlin cones to complete this track. But what is compulsory is this part. This is what you have to do before 25th of January to earn a certificate. As you can see, there are two units, Unit 1 and Unit 2. So Unit 1 has 5 badges and Unit 2 also has another 5 badges. So if you complete all the 10 badges before 25th Jan, then you will get a certificate. So that's it, I guess. So each batch consists of various code labs. As you can see, first lab has 2 code labs. And after you complete all the code labs, you will have to take the quiz. And after you complete the quiz, you will get this badge for the completion of first rank. And this is for the second, third, and so on. Hope this thing is clear to you all now. I will move ahead. If you have any doubt, you can just put it in the chat box here. Okay, so moving on. Just to summarize what you have to do, first thing is you have to create a developer profile as I have just shown you. Then you will have to complete all the code labs from Unit 1 and Unit 2. And for the final submission, you will have to build a unique app before 25th of January. So that will be considered as a final submission. And what we will be doing is we will be selecting few of those, and after selecting that, we will be sending it to the Google developers, actually the DSC, the global part. And what they will do is they will take some apps which they like, and you can get a chance to get featured on Google developers social media handles. Along with that, what you will earn is virtual badges on Google developer profile on completion of each subunit of the course. And along with that, when you complete all these, you will also get a certificate of completion. So let me see if there are any doubts here. Okay, Swaraj has answered it, I guess. Okay, I'll move ahead. So which is your favorite programming language? For me, it's C++. I would like to know which one is your favorite. So I'll start with my language. Just put it in the chat box, which is your favorite programming language. Okay, yeah, C++. Aditya, C++. Oh, lot of C++. Oh, I see Java, Java, C++. Yeah, C++. So majority of people like C++ here. It's a great thing. Oh, cool. So, so what is Kotlin? Let's start. Kotlin is a modern programming language. It has various features from many of the popular languages like Python, JavaScript, and many other languages. And it is developed by a company called JetBrains. JetBrains is a company which also develops IDEs for multiple things like IntelliJ, where you can code Java, Kotlin, Gradle, and all that stuff. And it also is the company which builds Android Studio. So it is a combination of object-oriented programming and functional programming. So uh, it has both the features of an object-oriented programming language and a functional programming language. It is statically typed, which means that the types of each variable and function is checked at the compile time itself. Each Kotlin file has a .kt or .kts extension, and in 2016 it was made open source by JetBrains. So this is a survey of Stack Overflow of 2020. As you can see, Kotlin is the fourth most loved language in 2020. So what are the benefits? Is expressive, concise. It reduces the amount of boilerplate code you have to write, and it also ensures that the code you write is safer. What I mean by safer, it avoids some null pointer exceptions which were like a pain while programming in Java. It is also interoperable with Java, which means that if you have an app in Java which is ready, and if you want to add some feature with Kotlin, you can do that easily. So it can just work fine with Java code as well. Coroutines means it can do some asynchronous tasks on multiple threads without disturbing the main thread. So it allows you to do multiple tasks without actually loading out the main thread. So Android development is Kotlin first, which means that all the libraries, all the native libraries which are developed will be developed by keeping Kotlin in mind first. So all the new features will be available in Kotlin first and then in Java. So Google took this decision in Google I/O 2019. So that's another reason to use Kotlin for Android development. So let's write some code in Kotlin first. So this is the link for an online ID, online text editor where you can run Kotlin code. So I'll just paste it in the chat box. So you can also try it along with me. I have pasted the link in the chat box, so all of you can also try going there. Just cut the code. This is something which we'll see by default, which is written in the Kotlin playground. I hope you are all able to access this. So to run the code here, we will have to just click this blue button which says run, and this will run the code. And if you want to change it, then you can change it like this: hello Kotlin, and it will run fine. Okay, moving on. So what are the key takeaways from this? The key takeaways are all the Kotlin code starts from this main function. So main function is the entry point of all the code in Kotlin that you write. So everything like you have int main in C++, similar to that, everything starts from here. And a function in Kotlin is denoted by this fun keyword. And if you want to print a line, you use print ln function and a string inside it or anything inside it. If you want to just print anything, you can use print as well, but it will not create a new line before printing. So it will just keep on printing in a single line. So println is used to print on an individual line, while as print just prints it wherever the console pointer is. So let's play a quiz on Kotlin. So I will hand it over to Swaraj now, so he can continue with the quiz. Okay, I see Aditya has a question. Can we return from a function in Kotlin? If so, how we can define return type for the function? Okay, Aditya, we will be covering it in the later part of this session. We'll be covering all the things you require to write a function, how to return it, what are higher order functions. So I'll be covering that in the later part of this session. So, Swaraj, Swaraj,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Actually, I missed what. Sorry, I was disconnected. Could you please repeat?
The quiz.
Uh, so this is the game pin for your quiz. You can enter this pin on your device, and we will start with the quiz. Please try to keep your original names because we are going to rank them. So please don't use some slang names. Okay, we have 26 entries now. I'll wait for next 10 seconds and then we will start. Okay, guys, I will start the quiz now. You can see the questions on the screen, and then you have to answer through your mobile phones. You have to select the right color of the answer which you see. Okay, so let's get started. Time's up. Next question. Everyone answered this question. Very nice. We'll move to next question. Great, guys. So this is final question. Don't worry, this is a bonus question, so every answer is correct. So here we have a leaderboard. So Aishwarya is third, Anum is second, and Harshit is first. Congrats, Harshit. So fourth is Anil and fifth is Abhishek. Congrats to you guys also. Siddhesh, you can.
Well played, everyone. I'll just share my screen. I hope you can see the screen now. Okay, so let's start. So this is about the comments in Kotlin. So there are two types of comments. One is a single line comment and other is multi-line comment. For a single line comment, we use this double slash and followed by the comment. And multi-line comment, we use a slash and an asterisk sign. Then the comment, and to close it, we use an asterisk sign followed by a slash. So that's very similar to most of the other languages. So moving on. So variables in Kotlin. So in Kotlin, there are two types of variables. First is var, which is a mutable variable, and another is val, which is an immutable variable. So what's the difference between mutable and immutable? So let me tell you that, for example, we have a counter and it initially starts with a zero count. Then as we press the buttons, the counter increments. So what is the required thing is that we must have a variable which can change value, so we can assign any value to it. So that is an example of a var. So val is used in context when there is something which should be constant. For example, a name of a person, it doesn't change. So we can have it as a constant. So val is something which is constant. We cannot reassign it. But var is something whose value can be changed. We can also reassign it to any other value. So if you see how these variables are declared, use a keyword var or val, then the name of the variable, followed by a colon and the name of the data type. So it's a bit different than most of the other languages like Java and C++. They mention the data type at the beginning and followed by the name of the variable. But in Kotlin, we use this colon and then the data type, and equal, this is the same like most of the other languages. So what are the data types in Kotlin? I would say that there are two kinds of data types. One is not null and second is nullable data types. So if you see the left part and the right part, you will just notice a single difference that every data type here does not have any question mark, but here there is a question mark after each data type. So what does that mean is we can assign null value to these data types which are nullable. But in the case of non-null data types, it will give an error if we try to assign null value to any of the non-null data types. And considering the data types, which are these are similar to other languages like character, boolean, string, int, float, double. Let's see first non-null data types. So as you can see, if we assign an integer to an integer type variable, then it's perfectly fine. But if we try to assign null to it, then it will give an error like null cannot be a value of non-null type. So what is the solution here? We can use a nullable data type. So here we have used a question mark after the data type, which means that it is nullable. So val size int, which is nullable, so we can assign null to it, and this is absolutely correct. So let's try it on Kotlin Playground. I'll just copy it just to demonstrate how it works in Kotlin. Okay, if I remove this question mark and try to run it, you can see that it gives me an error. Null cannot be a value of a non-null type. So I'll make it a question mark. It is a val. If I try to also change its value, it will give me an error. Like if I make the size 3 here, I can't do it because it is a val. So if I change it to var, then it's perfectly fine. So hope that's clear to everyone. Let me check the chat. Okay, so there are no doubts. Okay, moving on. Type inference in Kotlin. So this is a unique feature which Kotlin provides. So you will notice something here that I haven't explicitly mentioned the data type of a variable. Like this length is an integer, but I haven't mentioned that it is an integer. So Kotlin is smart enough to recognize the data type. And this is the same goes with this. I haven't explicitly mentioned that it is a string, but Kotlin will recognize that it is a string. So it's perfectly fine if you don't provide the data type sometimes. So this is how we print the variable. As I mentioned earlier, we use print ln to print a separate line. And if you want to add some variable inside a string while printing, we use this dollar sign. So what it will do is it will access this variable's value and it will print it. Like here the length is 5, so it will print length is 5 in the console. So let me show you in the Kotlin playground. Quickly run it. So the length is 5. If I change the length of it like 6, welcome length is 6. So as simple as that. We don't have to write an plus sign to concatenate the string and variable. Uh, it works this way in Kotlin. A dollar sign followed by the name of variable. Okay, so taking input in Kotlin. So this feature is not currently supported in Kotlin Playground, so it won't work because you can't access the terminal in Kotlin Playground. But this is the basic syntax of how you take the input in Kotlin. So there is a function called readLine. It just reads whatever there is in the terminal's current line, and it will save it in this variable. So what if we want to convert it into integer? So we will use this readLine function followed by this two exclamation marks, which converts this line into a non-null type data type, and then it will convert it into an integer. So if I type something like 1 in the terminal, it will typecast it as an integer, and it will save that integer's value in this int input variable. So another cool thing about Kotlin is you can use these kind of statements where you have three variables x, y, z, and you are to assign a value to them just from a single line. So I will just demonstrate it to be more specific. I will just copy this, paste it in my IntelliJ because it doesn't work on the Kotlin playground. So I have already written this. So it will take three integers followed by space. It will split them using this split function, which splits by a space. And for each entry in that line, it will typecast it to the integer. So let me run this code. Okay, this is how I give input in IntelliJ. This is an IDE which is also built by JetBrains. So I will just input 1, 2, 5, and it will print the sum of y and z. So y and z were 2 and 5, so it will just simply print the value of 2 plus 5, which is 7. I hope that it's clear to everyone. Moving on to control flow. Uh, you might be familiar with this syntax. There is no change in it. If, then condition, and then a statement, then else if and else. So this is very similar to all the other languages. What's new in Kotlin is this when statement. I will say that when statement is similar to a switch statement from Java or C++. So it will take the value of this x and compare with each case. So if value of x is 0, it will call this function. If it is 1, then it will call move next function. If value of x is 2, it will call skip turn function. So let me just demonstrate it in Kotlin Playground. Instead of this, I will just write simply print 1. Print 2, print 3. Suppose I have a variable with a value equal to 2. Let's execute this. Okay, for 2 I'm printing 3. So for 2 it will print 3. So what if this value is not in the all the cases which I have mentioned in the when? So there is one thing you can do, that is an else block inside a when conditional flow. So else followed by an arrow, and I will print no case. So this part will be executed when it will not find any of the cases which match with this value of x. So if I do something like 100, so it will print no case. So it is similar to the default case. So hope that is clear to everyone. I'll move on. Next is collections. So Kotlin provides a standard template, a standard library which has all the which contains a lists, sets, and maps, and many other data structures. So you can use a list of to create a simple list, like a list containing integers like 1, 2, 3, or you can say it as a set by calling this function set of. So it will create a set with these members, and you can also create a map, a hash map, where you can say these are the key value pairs. So a key points to the value of 10, b key will point to value of 20, and other something like this. So moving on, mutable and immutable list. So similar to the val and var, lists or any other collection can also be either mutable or immutable. Here, immutable and mutable means that this list is final. You cannot add or remove something from it. But in the below list, you can do multiple operations because it is mutable. So I'll just quickly demonstrate here. I'll also show how to run a for loop for a list. So for loop goes like this: for I in list. So if you want to print these members of a list, you can do it like this: print I. What it will do is it will print each and every element of the list. Similarly, I can do this for this list as well. But before doing that, I will show what's the difference. This is a final list and this is a list which can be changed. I will show you how it can change. Suppose I want to add something. So like if I want to add Java to it. So the list will become C++, Kotlin, and Java. So let's test it. So first it will print this initial list, which cannot be changed, which is final. But after I add Java, the size of that list becomes 3, and this is how you print all the elements of a list. Okay, I have a doubt here in the chat. No, no. Okay, no doubt. So moving on. So this is what I have explained. There is something called extension function, which also allows you to do same thing like iterating through a list or a set or any other collection. So Kotlin also provides with this for each function. It will behave the same way as a for loop, but it will take each and every element and do something for that element. So in this example, I'm just printing it. So I will also show this how it works. So instead of this, I can use a for each languages for. I will just comment this for loop. Okay, so it prints C++, Kotlin, and Java. There is something called for each indexed also. So it will have two parameters. One is the index and other is a value. You can think of it as like a hash map where each index will point to a value. So index and value, if I try to print the index equal to value. Okay, as you can see, for 0th index it will print C++, for first index it will print Kotlin, and for second Java. I hope this is clear to everyone. Multiple ways to loop for a collection. It also has while and do while loop. It's same as all the other languages, so I won't code it here because it will be just a waste of time. So this is something which is important, null safety in Kotlin. So Kotlin's type system is aimed at eliminating the danger of null references from code. So this is what programmers call a $1 billion mistake. What it means is like whenever there is a null reference and you try to access a property of that null reference, your app is highly likely to crash. It can cause a runtime error or something like that. So that was one of the main reasons why Android invested in Kotlin, because Kotlin had something which Java doesn't have. It has this feature of handling the null references in a proper manner. So let's see how it is done. So this is an old school way of treating the old school way of dealing with the null data types. So I have a variable and I assigned it a value of Kotlin. So first I will check if it is null, and I will check if it is its length is greater than 0. And if it is not null, then I will print its length. If it is null, then I will just print the empty string. So what this does is it takes too much effort to code all of these for each time you are dealing with some value which can be null. So what Kotlin has come up with is a safe call operator. So this is denoted by a question mark and followed by a dot. So I have two strings, one is Kotlin and for other one I have assigned null value. So when I try to find out the length of something which is null, I don't have to explicitly check if it is null or not. Kotlin will handle that smartly. So if it is null, it won't cause any runtime exceptions or runtime errors or anything like that. It will simply print null. So if I have chain of calls like b.length.a.c, something like that, and if any of those values is null, it will simply print null in it. So that's the benefit of using Kotlin. Next is Elvis operator. So as we saw here, we had if, then else, and multiple condition inside it. So Elvis operator just does it in one line. So this is how to do it. So suppose I have a string and I want to check if it is null or not first. So if it is not null, I will just print the length, and if it is null, I will just print -1. So this can be summed up in a single line by using this Elvis operator. So what it does, if it checks if this left hand side is null or not. If it is not null, then it will assign this value to this variable of length, and if it is not null, then it will assign a value of -1. So in our case, it is null. So it will, what it will do is it will assign -1, and you can see that output is -1 as well. Moving on, not null assertion operator. So this is an operator for the people who like null pointer exceptions. So when this should be used with caution actually, and this should be used whenever you are 100% sure that the value you are receiving is not null. So if it is a scenario like this, then you should not use a not null assertion operator. This is also called double bang operator. It has two exclamation marks. So it is dangerous to use this operator because it can cause null pointer exceptions. So I will just copy this code and show you what a null pointer exception looks like. You see, uh, it just occurred here, the java.lang null pointer exception. So the better way to do it would be to use a safe call operator. So it simply prints null. It does not cause any crash in your application while running. It won't cause any runtime exception, but it will simply print null if this value is null. So it reduces the number of crashes your app has to go through while testing, debugging, etc. Moving on to functions now. So this is a basic definition of a function, like what a function looks like in Kotlin. So you have a fun keyword followed by the name of the function. And after that, in the parentheses, you have the function argument. So a is an integer, b is also an integer, and followed by that is the return type. So this function add returns an integer. It takes two integers a and b and returns a sum of them. So to return something, we use the return keyword. So it will take a and b, add them, and just return it. So below here you'll see another function called display. It has no arguments. Its return type is unit. So what unit means in Kotlin is similar to void in most of the other languages. Unit means nothing. It returns nothing. What it is doing is just printing something. So what we can do is we can also omit this return type if it is returning nothing. So I will just show you how to code it in playground. I have two functions. It's completely fine if you remove this. And to call the functions, we just use their name followed by parentheses. So I will take a value res equal to addition of 4 comma 5, and I will just print it. Okay, so the addition of 4 and 5 is 9. Similarly, I can also call the display function. It will just print welcome. So if I add unit, it's perfectly fine. It won't cause any error also, but it is generally recommended to not use this because it will create confusions it will create confusion to those who don't know what unit is. So if it returns nothing, it's better to just leave it like that. It returns nothing. So moving on. Named arguments. So it is a feature of Kotlin where you can call a function by naming its individual arguments. So another function we have here is it takes three arguments, three integers, and adds them and returns the addition. So typically we will call this as add 1, 2, and 3. But what Kotlin gives you is the flexibility to call it in any way you would like. So first, if I want to mention this p argument, so first I can use the name of that argument followed by an equal to sign and then the value of the argument which you are passing. So first I'll pass B, then A, and then C. Order really doesn't matter if you are using this named argument feature. So I'll also again copy this. Okay, and saved it. Okay, so the addition of 2, 1, and 3 is 6. So if I change the order, if I move B here after C, it won't affect the result. You can call it in any way you would like. So that's how named arguments work in Kotlin. Let me see if there are any questions. Okay, no question. Default arguments. So default arguments are the default values of those arguments which will be used if they are not provided in the function call. So similar function I have like we had in this. So the only change is I have assigned value of each argument as 0. So if I don't specify any of these, then by default its value will be considered as 0. So look at the first call here, add 1. So I'm just providing a value of A. So by default, the value of B and C will be 0. So uh, the the return value of that function will be 1. Similarly, if I use named argument, like if I want B's value to be 2, so this value will be overridden, like it will become 2. But as I haven't provided any value to this, so it will stay 0. So it will return 2 as well. So let me demonstrate this. You copy it to Kotlin Playground. So first C should return 6. Okay, as you can see, the output matches what I have commented here, 6 and 2. So that's basically it about the default arguments. Okay, so this is the most important feature in Kotlin according to me. So lambda expressions are similar to Kotlin, but it gives you the flexibility to declare or define any function anywhere inside the Kotlin code. Uh, what I mean by what I mean by that will be clear within few minutes. So this is the basic syntax of a lambda function. So it is a val, name of that variable is sum, and if you look at the type of lambda expressions is not similar to any other variable we have used till now. So what it means that it's storing the definition of a function which takes integer as an argument and returns an integer. So what it basically doing is it is storing the definition of a function. So in this definition, the definition is provided by these curly braces. So inside the curly braces, I have this first argument, which is an integer, as you have seen here. So what I'm doing is uh, calculating the sum of the first I natural numbers. So given an argument I, what this function will return is the sum of the first I natural numbers. So I will just copy it to demonstrate how it works. I'll just write it in main function. Okay, so this is a val, and the definition of function is this. Suppose I want to calculate sum of first five natural numbers. So I can do it like this: sum dot invo and provide the value of I as 5, and I will just print it. Okay, so sum of first five natural numbers is 15. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's 15. I hope that's correct. And if I change it to 2 or something like that, okay, so 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's perfectly correct. So I'll show why these are very important in the next slide. These are used in higher order functions. So higher order functions is a function that takes functions as parameters or returns a function. So that's why they are called higher order functions, because they are taking either functions as their arguments or they are having functions as their return types. So this is very, very useful while building the UI in Jetpack Compose in Android. So this is the core concept which is used for Jetpack Compose actually. So this is the base. For example, I have a print num function. So it takes an integer and a function which takes an integer and returns an integer. So I can use that function anywhere inside this function. So its scope is limited to this function only. So if I provide any function in this uh, as an argument, so its scope will be limited to this function only. So if I try to call this function anywhere here, so it won't work. So that's very important where we are dealing with states and state changes in Jetpack Compose. So so here I am using a for loop. It will iterate from 1 to num, the num which you have provided, and it will calculate the sum of first sum of first I natural numbers, and it will save here. It will save it here in the x variable, and we are just printing that variable. So if you see the definition that we have provided, it is a lambda. So going back to the definition, higher order of functions is a function that takes functions as parameters or returns a function. So if you see this inside the curly braces, it is a lambda. So we haven't declared any function here, and we are naming that function here. So inside the call, we have defined what our function should do. So it will take I and it will return I into I plus 1 by 2. As simple as that. So it just makes the code very concise. Okay, I see a question. What is num here? Okay, so num is the value for which we are running the for loop. So if num is something like 3, so it will iterate from 1 to 3. So first it will calculate the sum of first one natural number, then 2, and then 3. The function is same as this, and num is only for the for loop which we are executing. So it will go from 1 to num. So this dot dot means from 1 to num. So it will be more clear when I execute this. So let me just execute this in the Kotlin playground. Okay. So this is a function which is a higher order function. It takes an argument and a function. So I will just simply run this so that you would know how it is doing. So I have provided value of num equal to 4. So it will iterate from 1 to 4. So for 1, it will calculate the sum of first one natural number which is equal to 1. Then for 2, it will calculate the sum of first two natural numbers which is 3, then 6 and then 10. So we can, so this way we can use higher order function. We can also do it in one line like this. For those who like one liners, Python lovers. So this is how you can define. You can also replace this with any other lambda you want. Suppose I want to print double that value. So what it will do is, what I will do is, I have a doubt here. Can num contain float values? Yeah, I think so. Oh, but this convention is used generally for integers. So whenever the step increment is equal to the step increment is equal to 1, use generally this. I hope that's clear to you. So if I do it like this, so what it will do is just print the double of that number. So for 1 it will print 2, for 2 it will print 4, and for 3, 6 and 8. So this is very, very important. It will be used almost everywhere while coding in Kotlin. So that's it. So I think that's it for today's session. So let's play a quiz on Kotlin. So over to you, Swaraj.
Yeah, guys, I'm sharing the screen while you can copy the code from here chat and start with the quiz. Too much of theory, guys. Yeah, but from next sessions we will try to do much coding in Android Studio. So bear with us, okay? Okay, just a minute. Is it visible now?
Yeah, now it is visible.
So last quiz we had 27 members. So as we touch that number, I will start. Should I start? Okay, I guess everyone is here, so I will start. Nice one, guys. So last question for the day. Not really. Last one is this. So Yash at third position, Atharva A at second. Yo, Archit. Okay, so I'll stop presenting now.
Congratulations to the winners. Okay, so that was it for today's session. We will be covering more in detail in coming sessions. So share what you have learned with this hashtag of Android Study Jams, and these are the badges we will be earning tomorrow in tomorrow's sessions. We'll build our first app. We'll make ourselves familiar with Android Studio and much more.
So
So
guys,
stay tuned for session 2.
uh, just one announcement, Siddhesh. You will have an hacker rank
Huh?
quiz at 6 today. So try to go through stuff. We will upload every code on GitHub, so you will have every code and you can try it out on either IntelliJ IDE or Kotlin Playgrounds. Then you can attempt challenges on HackerRank, which will be uploaded at 6. So there is no time limit for that, but I'll insist that you complete those quizzes before tomorrow's session. Also, you need to install Android Studio before second session. So please do the necessary things. Okay. Bye.
Okay, so I would like to conclude it here. So you guys can start leaving the session. Hope to see you again tomorrow.
Okay, I think वो लास्ट भी चला गया. So how did you guys feel? कैसा था आज का session?
Yeah, nice. Went quite good.
Yeah, it went well.
I mean मुझे जितना expected था drop होना उससे कम ही लोग drop हुए यार. We peaked at
हाँ,
40 and our average till the end was 35. तो actually काफी अच्छा था वो.
Hmm. एक्चुअली थेरी थी ना इस बार, तो
हम्म।
शायद कम रिस्पांस था।
अरे आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट, बट कल से हम लोग अपने एंड्रॉइड स्टूडियो से स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं ना, तो होपफुली दैट विल बी मोर इंटरेस्टिंग फॉर एवरीवन। एंड अच्छा ओके, अथर्व को अभी तक परमिशन नहीं दिया।
एक्चुअली आई थिंक वी शुड पब्लिसाइज दैट कि कल से हम ऐप बनाने वाले, सो
हाँ हाँ, मैं वही बोल रहा था कि दिस थिंग इधर टुनाइट या टुमारो मॉर्निंग ना, एक प्रॉपर एक मैसेज में लिख के देता हूँ, ग्रुप पे डाल देना वो, एंड
हाँ
दैट विल बी कि यस्टरडे सेशन वाज मोर थ्योरी फोकस्ड बट टुडे इट विल बी फोकस्ड मोर ऑन राइटिंग कोड इन एंड्रॉइड। ऐसा कुछ तो एक अच्छे से लिख के देता हूँ मैं वो
एंड
And
आई
also we will be posting it on our story, right? Instagram.
यस आई हैव टेकन स्क्रीनशॉट्स, तो ये तो कर ही देंगे।
या वो ऐप के स्क्रीनशॉट डाल देना, मतलब वो थोड़ा।
या करेक्ट, दैट मेक्स सेंस। सो जस्ट डू मी अ फेवर, तेरे जो आपके स्क्रीनशॉट्स हैं ना जिसके पास भी हैं, जस्ट सेंड इट ओवर टू कशिश।
ओके, अभी तो हर्षित जीता है, क्या करना है?
हाँ मैं वही बोल रहा था, भाई तू तो पूरा फॉर्म में था।
नहीं,
क्या
वो
करे?
गिफ्ट सेकंड वालों को बांट दो, मतलब जो अपने क्लब का नहीं ना, उनको मतलब जो भी है पॉइंट्स पॉइंट्स
आज
सब।
का व्हाट वी कैन डू इज देख, आज वैसे हैकर में भी कुछ हमें काम करना था बट उन लोगों ने कुछ किया नहीं होगा, वी कैन गारंटी दैट। सो
ओके,
आज का जो मतलब जस्ट कंसिडर इट किया कि जैसे सिंस आज और कल कोटलन बेसिक्स है, काउंट दिस एट वन सेशन, एंड कल के जो भी एंड में लीडर बोर्ड पे रहेगा उसको शाउट आउट दे दो। कीप इट
हाँ
दैट।
चलेगा ना। एंड
अच्छा।
वो एक और सजेशन था कि मतलब कोई भी कोई टॉपिक पढ़ा रहे हो ना, मतलब जैसे अगर वेरिएबल या फिर कोई फंक्शन का एक पार्ट एक बार मतलब तब चैट में पूछ लो कि किसी को कुछ डाउट है क्या, क्योंकि ऐसे दो तीन टॉपिक एक साथ लेने